In this video help, I'm going to be covering the Payment tab. One of the first things I want to point out that's information that you need is that you have a customer, which is calling a booking ID, but basically what this is the equipment ID that's used across all the tabs. This is the linking field that links all this data together. And it also shows up here at the equipment ID at the top of the page. This information is also portrayed on the invoice so that you know that this is coming from this particular record. One of the things that's important about doing the payment is that you'll see that there's a tax, subtotal, total, the amount paid to date, and the balance. This is a typical accounting approach to all the information you have. The orange or salmon colored fields will show your total commitment as far as all your expenses, and it'll do it on a running basis. And yet the one thing you're really looking for is the total balance due, so that if you're going out to do an invoice, the only amount that you currently have on the billing is $200. So this information is just supporting information. This is the amount paid, and obviously this minus this is what your balance is. Now, you can see in here that it's going to run each one of the payments that are being made. So in the past, we had a $214 payment. If we're going to add the next one in, and we're going to say it's going to be paid, say, on the 10th is when the person actually sent it to us, we're going to say we know that they have a $200 balance as far as the amount due. So we're going to put that in there first. Even though it is not what their payment is, that is what goes in there. You put the amount paid, and I'll show you I'm going to put in something. Let's say we put in $80. It's going to show the $120 balance. How did they pay it? It could be Visa, MasterCard, or a check, or it can be whatever form of payment, like cash if you wanted to. You could put cash in here and show the amount paid. Now, if they do not conclude by paying this amount, and I click to the next record, and you see that they have the amount due there, as soon as I actually receive that payment, the amount paid, and then click off the screen, you're going to see it change to $120. So if you added another payment in here, and then you show the balance now is going to be $120, and whatever they pay until the balance is zero again. So I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put in the $200. Let's say they paid it in full. It helps to put it in the right place, $200. And just click anywhere off of it. And now you'll see that it's converted it to zero as the balance due. It shows the sum of the amounts of payment of the 414, which is the total due. And the way that they paid it, I'm going to say is cash. Now, here's an option that you have if it's a credit card, and this is due to experience. I've done an awful lot of bookkeeping and accounting over the years in different businesses, especially if you're doing this in a retail type of business. Take the last 4 digits of a check, yes, but also if you're doing a credit card, take the last 4 of a credit card. If there's any conflict or dispute later on, and you get a credit card company come back to you with an issue, you want to know which credit card the customer used. The last 4 of the card is what they're going to ask you, and you can have it in your records as how it was paid. That last 4 may make the difference between having an unclouded payment and a clouded payment. What does that mean? If you got the last 4 of the card, that means that you probably flipped the card over and checked the signature. And if you check the signature, and then you have the option to do this. You can also put the 3 or 4 digit number that's beyond, on the back of the card, which definitely signifies. For example, I might want to put a dash and then put the last 3 numbers that are on that card. That tells me that I did look at the back of the card and I verified that there is a signature. If you do not have a signature on the back of the card and it says something like ask for ID or something like that, be aware that banks don't consider that a lawful payment, and that you're taking it, and all the liability goes on you if you didn't check for the signature. So it's very important to know. If you had to take people to court like I have, for one of the employees not taking and looking and putting the signed signature and the 4-digit code on the back for the card and the other 3-digit code, you can end up with a dispute where you lose whatever the amount of money is. And that can happen, especially in your retail business where you have a one-time client come in. Okay, now that we've passed through this information, and that might be additional help for you, there is also the long billing invoice that you would pop out to from here and then check to see if that billing invoice, if you're going to do it from here, that it shows paid as well. I'll cover the billing invoice in another video, but you'll see that once you made your adjustments here or you didn't take the payment, either way, when you make the payment, you may want to make a digital backup copy of the paid one and the one that was not paid. And this is an example of that invoice. So you're going to see at the top, you had a 200, a sum of the total, and it shows no tax. And of course, I have to actually run this in order to get it to show all the correct information. In fact, the next place we're going to go on the next video is going to be for the invoice. So you're looking at the invoice now. Proceed to the next video on the invoice. Thank you.